Plucking leaves outside of autumn really didn't make a great deal of sense. Spring wildflowers would have been a nice option, had it been spring, and had wildflowers been permitted to grow there. One year, an extremely late frost had killed all of the wildflowers in the garden, which everyone of sense had agreed was a message from David Garm that he found wildflowers objectionable. Perhaps if she plucked a few stems of rosemary. No, that wouldn't work. The ghost didn't generally object to the picking of herbs, owing, no doubt, to herbs being quite useful, and, therefore, the picking of them not being particularly wasteful. Another circuit of the frustratingly ghost-free garden produced no grand schemes. She might have picked any number of things, but David Garm had grown very stubborn. He no longer appeared every time she made off with something. Summoning him often felt like a puzzle she was required to solve. But after months of society and balls and uncomfortably fashionable gowns, followed by dire predictions of her miserable future as a speedily aging spinster, Enid was too weary for riddles. "I don't know what to steal," she announced in ringing tones. "I'm perfectly willing to make off with any number of things. You simply have to tell me which." The voice that answered, though decidedly male, was not David Garm's. "I am not intimately acquainted with the laws governing Brecknockshire, but I am relatively certain thievery is as much a crime here as it is in the rest of the kingdom." Enid turned toward the unfamiliar voice. His tone and timbre, though pleasant, hadn't prepared her for the picture he presented. He was not the sort to send entire ballrooms full of women swooning en masse, perhaps, but he suited Enid's tastes quite perfectly. Dark hair to contrast her golden, eyes of a very light blue, tall and of an active build. His smile hitched up a touch higher on one side than the other, something that sent her heart into a rather absurd rhythm. And this handsome stranger thought she was a thief who talked to herself in gardens. It was, technically, the truth, but still a terribly unpromising way to make a gentleman's acquaintance. "One must not take what is not one's own," she paraphrased David Garm's signature declaration. "But as this is my garden, stealing from it wouldn't truly be stealing." His brow pulled low in thought. "Why would you be stealing from a garden?" "To summon the ghost who lives here." With that, his eyes opened wide and his smile blossomed fully. "It appears I am in the right place, then." "You have been searching for a ghost in a garden?" "I have been searching for the particular ghost in this particular garden." He spoke with utter sincerity. "I should very much like to make his acquaintance." "You believe he's real, then?" She'd mentioned her family spectre to a few people she'd met during her season, and was always met with doubt, both about the ghost and about her mental state. "I've no reason not to believe it," the stranger replied. "In that case, sir, welcome to Wales." 2. Welcome to Wales. Those had become Burke Kennard's 3 favourite words over the past half-decade. Wales was not his home, but it had come to feel as though it were. The young lady he'd come across in the garden was watching him expectantly. He wasn't at all sure what the connection was between her intention to pilfer something from her gardens and the ghost who was purported to frequent its paths, but he'd always been of a curious nature, and looked forward to learning all he could. "I hadn't wished to disturb your solitude, miss," he offered by way of apology. "I simply wanted to ascertain if this was the garden I was looking for, before foisting my presence upon those in the house." "Come, then." She motioned him toward the garden's entrance. "I'll foist your presence upon them." She moved with an unhurried but confident stride. He'd found the women of Wales generally fit that mould. They possessed all the assurance of society ladies, without the pretentiousness. Burke rather liked the combination. "I promise not to make a nuisance of myself," he said. "I simply wish to ask some questions about your ghost."